So yeah, this is Premiere, and what we're going to do is we're going to conform through to being resolve, keeping all the elements as the same. So there's a few things we need to export. Can anyone tell me what the three things are, or the 3 or 4 things are that we need to do? An XML, great. So we need to do an XML. If we are an Avid, what do we do? Okay, same process. I'm going to try and double it up. So you've got XML, and what else do we need to export? WAV, yes. So we check out a WAV at the same time. It's just a reference WAV. This isn't the final WAV. This isn't what we're going to do. It's just a reference WAV because in order, if we have issues with our audio, we can bring it into Resolve and put it underneath. Sometimes audio will or won't come through. So it's a reference WAV if we need it. What else? Type of video. Say H.264, doesn't matter, it could be an MP4, but what's the point of this other file we check out? Yeah, so it's a reference. Yeah, reference with fixing, reference with certain timecode that we check out at the same time. Separate from that, you also would separate your graphics, titles, VFX shots, and they would be exported separately. So if you're in something like Premiere and you're dynamic linking to an After Effects, that will not transfer over. You need to export that as a file out of After Effects, bring it back into your Premiere, make sure it's on there, or bring it directly and cut it directly into Resolve. Same with any titles or graphics. Normally you have them separately and cut them directly into Resolve afterwards as well. But most of it will transfer, all the clips, standard clips will transfer over. So the first thing we're going to do is make an XML of this. So I've got it selected, File, Export, Final Cut Pro, XML. All right, it's going to tell me where to save it. I'm going to call it Conform 3, Desktop. For now, you'll want to probably save it in a special folder in your hard drive. Do you want me to go through that again? So File, Export, Final Cut Pro, XML. Yeah, so an XML is an EDL. So EDLs, a standard EDL is a list of timecode ins and outs and codes and names that reference exactly what's on your timeline. So every single one of these clips will come down in order. Tell you what, see if I can. I'm just going to check one out and see if I can open it up for you. There you go. Let's see if I can open it up in Word. There you go. So that's what an EDL looks like. So we've got the name of the clip file. We've got the timecode in, the timecode out. We've got the start and the finish duration. And then the numbers in terms of order on the timeline. Right? And then any additional information we need about the program or anything like that. And that, pardon? This you won't need to. This is its base form what an XML and an AF is, but the XML and AF aren't written like this. They're written in code that relates to 2 programs or the program that goes to. But it also holds a lot more information like transitions and time changes and all these other things that this can't hold. But if you have an issue or problem with your conform, you'd go back to an EDL, and that's the most solid way of knowing how to resolve the problems you're dealing with. Generally these days, AFs and XMLs are so good you don't need to know this stuff. But it's worth looking at it. Because a lot of issues and problems can be solved by knowing what an EDL is and how to kind of resolve it. But essentially, XMLs and AFs are EDLs, but EDLs with code. Cool. All right, so we've got our XML. We've exported that. If I'm going to Avid, export coming from Avid, I would chuck it. Well, I wouldn't be in Premiere, would I? I would chuck an AF file in the same way. All right, so no difference. Resolve is fine with both. And then I would, if I'm going to make reference file. I need to go to, let's go back to editing. I need to go to my project, and I need to have a new item, transparent video. And that creates this just straight transparent video. It's same as the timeline. I'm going to take it, I'm going to drag it over. Notice I did this after doing my EDL because I don't really want this on my EDL. And I chuck it over the whole top of my timeline. And then I'm going to go to effects and video effects, video, time code. I'm going to take that time code. I'm going to drag it onto transparent video. Now if I click on here, you can see the time code's appeared here. Let's do something. So what I want to have on here is record and source. Yeah. So I want here record and source. So I've got one here that's media, which is the the source, right? So that's the source. So that's the time code on the individual clips. And then I want one from the whole thing that starts. So if I go to the start of this, it doesn't start at the start of my timeline, as you can see. It starts at a different time, and it changes throughout the piece. And then I want one. Also, I want to move it to the left. And then I want second time code. Copy, paste. And then I want that to be the clip. And I'll shove that to the other side. So that's my record and source. Record and source. I'll play it through. And that's the bits. Alright, so that's your reference file. So now we need to export the reference file. So in the same way, if you're in Avid, you can assign the bits. You can actually assign it similar in the same way. You can adjust it layer and you apply an effect directly onto it. That is Pixie, both the time code, and then that will be assigned in the same way we do sources. Okay, great. Yeah. Right. So this is officially when you should be using a reference file, and I'll show you why in a little while. This is the point of a reference file. So a reference file referred to time code is how you understand where every cut is in your actual real thing. So you need to be frame accurate. And the way you know you're frame accurate is you assign the two things together in Resolve, or whatever grade you're in, and then you can see where the cuts come in. You can see where the transition problems happen. You can see different time changes or the file that's cut in the wrong way or whatever. Right? This is when you would export the reference file. Generally, when you're going from one place to another, you export the reference file at the same time. Now, when submitting the reference file for this, you can submit this one if you want to. Or you can submit one from any of the stages you run. We don't mind. Does that make sense? But this is probably the first one you'll be doing, and it's also the right one as well. So there's nothing wrong with submitting this. All right, so we've got our reference file. We need to file, export media. What I'm looking for is the H.264. I'm going to match the source, and I want a medium or low bit rate because I want it to be a tiny file. I'm not bothered about this file. This file is just, in terms of visual quality, this file is just a reference. Sometimes you'll be doing a reference file for a producer or a director or someone else, at which point you wouldn't need record from the source, you just need record. And you probably want a higher quality export as well. But this one is for just checking cuts. So once I've done that, I press export. I should have set it to the desktop, but I didn't. And then finally, I need my hard drive with all of my red footage on it, right? Because that's what we're going to connect to. So we're not reconnecting back to the connectors, we're reconnecting to the red footage. right at the end of the process, last thing you possibly do. So when you make your 185x to go to content pages, that's when you make turn it, you make everything 25 frames a second. But also, as soon as you've done that, check it. And fortunately that's when you're doing QC checks. So any sync issues, that's when you're dealing with that problem. Okay. Want a quick premiere now? And I'm going to go to resolve. I'm going to start a new project for this one. I'm going to go to my hard drive. Shuffle that a little across so you can see what I'm doing. Yeah. Yeah, XD, why are we going to red footage? So red footage is uncompressed, raw files that give us better quality configuration. This is why we're doing what we're doing. To edit with the actual that footage is of course lagging and causing problems with your system. So by going to a lower size media, you're able to edit efficiently. And therefore when you come to grade, you don't want to grade it. It's not as good quality. So going to grade, you get a lot more options. And I'll show you actually on the result the extra options you get with the red footage on the deck. Also, the red footage is 444. It's full. It's beyond it. It's 4K. So it's like as good as you can get basically in terms of what you can grade. Which means when you're pushing stuff and moving stuff around and altering it, it's a lot better to grade. It's massive. The 4K files are huge files. Yeah. So the actual aspect ratio. So basically, what you'll do is because your timeline is 1080, when you conform into resolve, it'll still be 1080, but you're going to have the 4K footage you're working with, and that'll be within the 1080 frame, right? But it means the quality is still there for you to configure it. Yeah, even though it's been set on the same timeline as you're working on. All right. So the point about this, the reason for it is to give you the best ability to grade on no grader is going to want to work on that other footage you don't show them. It's like 36, it's 8 bits. It's not as good as protecting what it's good doing. So that's why we do it. It's kind of the true offline, online process. So I'm taking my red footage. Red files. This will take a while. I'm going to bring all my red files into the media pool. Pardon? That'll take a while, yeah. So don't forget that also you'll need your GoPro footage and your Canon RAW footage as well. If you've got that on your timeline, that will need to be all brought into the media pool. Any audio, any graphics, any other elements that you use in a timeline will also need to be all brought into your media pool. If it's not in the media pool, it will not find it unless it's open. Oh, I forgot to, yeah, you can export a WAV as well. So at the same time as going out, the last thing with Premiere, you'll export that WAV at the same time. So in that WAV, you can check that WAV on to cover the audio. Don't worry, don't forget that this is what's going on with your audio. So at the same time you're doing this grade, you should be checking out an OPFI file and going through the Pro Tools or Audition to be able to do your audio at the same time. And then what you'll do is when you come back to add it, you will take the AAF spat out, or the XML, the AAF is your going to have it up. The AAF is chucked out of here with all the graded footage, and you will put that onto your Avid at the same time to put the audio onto your Avid that you've done through even more digital processing. So my red footage is here now. I'm just going to shift select all of it and drag it to the media pool. Now, important thing just remember, don't make this mistake. Change. You want, as long as it's you're using the right footage, and dragging down the right footage, you want it to be changed to be the same as that, which means that this is 23.976. So I'll go and check on here. 23.976. It's grayed out, so once it's done, you can't change it. It's really important to set that right at the start. Got my footage in. Now what I need to do is find my reference file. So I'm going to find my desktop. I'm going to right click on the file and I want it to be add as offline reference clip. All right? Add as offline reference clip. And then it'll come here with this grayed out section. Now I want to go to File, Import XML. I'm going to find the XML that I chucked out, Conform 3, Open. I want to tick off automatically import source clips from readable. You've already done it, you don't need to do that. All right? So I've unclicked, you automatically import source clips from readable. The other two ticks are fine, and generally everything else is fine on that unless you change the settings at some point. And then you press OK. And what should happen is that, if you're lucky, all the clips have been brought in perfect order. Now, just to show you, I go to Color. They're all red files. Right? So I've reconnected from the timeline that's based on DNxHD. I've reconnected to red files. Right, so what we need to do now is go through every single clip to check them. And the best way of doing that is using our reference file. So I'm going to click offline. What I've got here now, actually I need to assign the offline. Well, you need to go back to media, you need to right click on your timeline and use timelines and then link to offline reference clip and incubate the file, the reference file that I created. And click that, and then when you go back to edit, I've got it locked up here. So when I move this timeline, it moves the reference clip as well. So I can check exactly each cut that I've made. So I'm going to go through all that again, yeah? Right, so I'll go through it again. So let me just delete the file first. So I'm removing it from there. So I found it here. I find it in my Finder, okay? I right click on it, and then I go to Add as Offline Reference Clip. This is the reference file that I chucked out of Premiere, okay? Yeah, I'm going to. Yeah, Add as on Offline Reference Clip, right? Now that's chucked down a file to here. That looks like that, right? Now I need to go to my XML. I need to right click on that. I go Timelines, Link to Offline Reference Clip. Right? And I click on that, and it links it now. Now when I go to edit, because I've selected here, offline, it means that it's chucked it inside of there. So this is the point of the reference file. That's the only reason why we check out these reference files. It's got the time code here, so we can check to the time code that's running up here. And we can check it down there. And then we can go to each individual cut. So I can go through, I've put some more issues on there. I'm going to check those first. Let's see if we've got them. Where's my, that one. my transitions do not transfer. There you go, there's a transition. So I can stop at that point, I can see my transition has translated. In EDL, that transition wouldn't translate. So I can frame through that if I want to. And I can check every single frame to make sure there's frame accuracy within the conform. Oh, sorry, I've got to think about something else. Went off for a while in my own head. Right, so that's where I want you to get up to. Okay, so I want you to get up to the point whereby you're checking every single cut. It's exactly the same from your reference file to your conform. So you've got 4K footage in your. What 4K footage? Oh, you're talking in general. Okay. Yeah. So what are you tracking and how are you tracking it? You're using most tracking inside of Premiere or inside of After Effects? Inside of Premiere. Maybe not. No, I might have to bake it in and check it out separately. Yeah. So anything like that, if it's an effect or a visual effect or a graphic, I would probably have to do it individually. So if I've got, same with dynamic, if I was dynamic link, I would check it out as a separate file and bring it in. It might, yeah, something that's not necessarily rendered won't necessarily transfer it because it won't understand what it is and just know it as a file. So it's not relinking to whatever you've done, it's relinking to the original file, which hasn't got any of your information on. The only things it kind of translates over are things like transitions and time changes, but won't necessarily do things like your quite complicated VFX. Wouldn't have to be done separately and report back in. Yeah. Any questions on that? Cool. So what I'd like, yeah, get up to this point whilst we're around to assist you with it, and go through, check every single frame, every single cut, and cut in anything that doesn't actually transfer over, or ask you questions on how and why that didn't happen. And that's, yeah. Go for it, do it. You all right? David? Yeah. Great. Yeah. Yeah.
See the time.
Yeah. 0.976.
Yes, 966. To change that, you do it at the end.
Yeah.
Do that expose the final.
Yeah, from Avid. Yeah. Yeah, your final export to go to content agent, that's when you do your change to 25 pages. Then you just set yourself up.
See for the briefing on the stills, it says each student will have a script and a storyboard. However, my piece doesn't have dialogue, so what I add into script.
Storyboard though, yeah?
I have a storyboard.
Scripting isn't based on dialogue. Scripting is based on everything that happens in the film. So yours wouldn't have any dialogue, but it would be a consistent explanation of what's happening. So I mean, so in terms of action, if you open up a script online, you'll see half of it is just that block action of what happens in the scene. So your script would just be that series of an explanation of what happened. Yeah, let's have a look at it. It's still running. It's still running. I should have stopped it. I can never remember how to stop. How do we stop it? Escape? Ah, there it is.